Okay, folks, this is Paulie at FTRradio.com, the Loud Talker here. I have got great news. I've got the Hermanator. Herman Cain is here, fired up and ready to go. I'll see if I can get him all wee-weed up talking about conservatism. I'm honored that you've taken the time to visit us. Thank you so much.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Fantastic. Glad to have you here. So a lot is going on in the world today. This convention has been outstanding.
Great.
People are fired up. We've got Supreme Court justices stepping down.
Yes.
We've got fights for prayer in our schools.
Yes.
We've got health care being rammed down our throats.
Yep.
What do you see as the number one way to get the Republican Party to win in 2010 and 2012?
The way we get the Republican Party to win in 2010 and 2012 is to harness this enthusiasm that is coming from the grassroots, coming from the bottom up in this country.
Absolutely.
I call it the citizens movement. Some people call it the Tea Party movement. I call it the citizens movement. I call it an intelligent thinkers movement because of the organization I started. It's Americans for Prosperity.
Right.
There is a movement that has started from the ground up in people who have said enough is enough. And so what we've got to do is, number one, harness that enthusiasm by one, as a Republican Party, doing a better job of articulating our message.
Yes, yes.
That's where we have always been relatively weak.
Yes.
Not articulating our message clear enough. It's not just enough to talk about what all the Democrats are doing wrong. We've got to say what it is that we would do, not just ideologically, but give people some examples and not be afraid to step out there with some specific solutions.
Absolutely.
And secondly, the Republican Party, in order to harness this enthusiasm and then reestablish what I call some balance of power in November 2010, and then also take back over the White House in 2012, is that the Republican Party, generally speaking, has got to reestablish and regain the trust of the American people. One of the things I get all the time, Paul, from people that call my radio show, well, how do we know that we can trust the Republicans if we put them back in office?
Right. That's the biggest concern.
I believe they have learned their lesson. But what we must do is not pretend that there's a big white elephant in the room and not recognize
That's right.
it.
Denial's
Republicans that's not going to help.
No.
We have got to step up and say, we messed up.
Yes.
We're sorry. We have learned our lesson. One of the best mea culpas in terms of where we went wrong in describing what the Republicans didn't do in Bush's first term was in Michael Steele's new book, in one of his chapters where he described where we went wrong. When I read that chapter in his book, I was exhilarated.
Yes.
Because as the head of the Republican National Committee, he said it. But not enough of us are saying it.
Agreed.
Not enough of us are saying it. So we need to do those two things. We need to sharpen our message and regain the trust of the American people.
Yes. Now, I spoke briefly with J.C. Watts yesterday.
Yes.
And I asked him the question, what do we do to get the Republican message to the historically black population that votes Democratic because they don't know any better? They're taught the message from their parents, from their communities, from their churches, but the message is a lie. If you've read Kevin Jackson's book, The Big Black Lie, he talks about being raised in a Democratic household, but as he got smarter and older and he became a teenager, he's like, wait, the Democrats aren't doing this. It's the Republicans that believe what I believe. So how do we get that message to the inner cities, the communities, the schools, and the churches?
I think it's going to be a viral movement because I already see it happening. Anecdotally, when I was on my way here leaving Atlanta, I was in line. I had to go up and get my ticket changed and get everything straight and this sort of thing. And there was a young black man who was in front of me. He heard my voice, and he turned around and he said, "You Herman Cain?" I said, "Yes, I am."
Yes, you got a great voice.
He said, I want to thank you for your radio show. I want to thank you for what you say and what you do. I am a young 30-something entrepreneur businessman, and I am right with you. What I'm saying, Paul, is there are more black young conservatives and more black conservatives out there than you would know about.
Yes.
They don't necessarily show up to tea parties because that's not in their culture, and they're working.
Right.
Unfortunately, many of them don't have the luxury of being able to take off from work and go to a tea party so they can be seen. No, but I know that they are there.
Yes.
When you get people call your radio show, Paul, and say, I need a mulligan on my presidential vote because I made a mistake.
Yeah, do-over, please.
I need a do-over. And that encourages me. Yes. This is unsolicited. Callers who say, I'm in my 20s, I'm in my 30s, and I'm now beginning to connect the dots. My radio show is attracting a part of that demographic that we have been missing because they know and respect my background. They know and respect my position on issues, but not just because I'm a Republican, but I define what I mean by conservative. And that's where we have been dropping the ball.
And you say on your website that facts don't mean a whole lot to the left.
They don't.
The misinformation. And you even mentioned that President Obama may be willfully or ignorantly be saying things that aren't true based on people that surround him and feed him the facts.
Yes.
So how do we get that? Is it going through the churches? Is it going through the schools? How do we get that message to the folks that need to know? It's
going through the churches. It's going through social and civic organizations, no matter how big or no matter how small, little by little. It's going to come from other conservative ambassadors out there that are willing to talk, and there are more and more of them, and that's encouraging to me, not just me being on the radio, but a lot of other speakers that I run into. So it's not going to be a Big Bang Theory that's going to bring them over. We're just going to have to continue to do it little by little by little. But the encouraging thing is I see it, I hear it, I feel it. It is encouraging. We can't judge the effectiveness of how much we are attracting black conservatives just based upon what the mainstream media shows you, because that's not the true picture.
You're absolutely right. This is Paul Croteau on FTR Radio. I've got the Hermanator, Herman Cain, who can be heard 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The Herman Cain Show. Check him out. You hear that voice. It's powerful, both acoustically and inspirational.
Or you can go to hermancain.com and listen online. You can do that. HERMANCAIN.com. Like Cain and Abel, but I didn't kill anybody, Paul.
Thank God for that. All right. So the message is there. The misinformation is out there.
Yes.
Congressman Steele, talked to him briefly yesterday. Hopefully he's coming by in a little. Chairman Steele should be here in a little while. He's taking a lot of heat, but I think a lot of that is because he's fighting the institution of the Republican Party.
Yes.
J.C. Watts said the same thing. I asked him, how do you change this? He said, conservatives are opening the tent. They're making the tent bigger, but the institution of the Republican Party needs to do that, and they're not. So folks like me are out here. I'm just a homeschool and soccer dad that's trying to get the word out, and I think there's more of us. You're right. It's there. It's tangible. We've got to make it visible. So I'm here. I got a good little story here. My wife was going to attend. She couldn't because of some other things. But she said, honey, why are you going to a Republican convention when they've left us? Why are you going to them? I said, honey, I'm going to get them back. When someone beats you up, when they kick you out of your house, do you go say, oh, I'll find another house? No, you get your house back. Not in my house, okay?
Right.
So I'm here to say to the Republicans, not in my house. This is our party, our Constitution. You have got to come back to us. Don't ignore the Tea Party. We are real, we are loud, and we are here. And voices like yours are out there making it happen.
Absolutely. So, I was being interviewed in Wisconsin earlier this week when I was up for the Tea Party Express stops in AFP, American for Prosperity. They were hosting some rallies, and I spoke at 3 different rallies all on Wednesday. And one reporter asked me, they said, how do you view the Tea Party? Do you view the Tea Party as with the objective of creating a third party? I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. That would be the worst thing that could happen. Well, what about becoming the right wing of the Republican? Absolutely not.
No.
I said the objective is to take back the Republican Party.
Darn right.
That is the objective.
And that's the hill.
They take the hill. Now, that doesn't mean that means that we have got to change the establishment, as you brought up, which is an excellent point.
Thank you, sir.
Because Chairman Steele has not only been having to fight the Democrats, he's having to fight the institution itself.
We got to stop the infighting. We got to work together.
Exactly. We've got to work together.
There's a famous speech we all know about, the 1,000 Points of Light.
Yes.
I see there's lots of Tea Parties in cities and states. Yes. There's radio stations, bloggers, etc. My personal opinion, we take those 1,000 points of light, focus them like a single point, like a laser, and take our country back.
In Georgia, there are people running for office that have never run for office before.
All over
America.
And
they're running all over America. Never run for office before because, number one, they're inspired. They wanted to get off the sidelines. They wanted to get off the sofas and get off their anchovies because they wanted to get in the race. Whether they can win or not, and I absolutely love it because they are going to force the establishment of the Republican Party to make some changes in order to be able to keep this sentiment that we're seeing all over this country.
And once we get that party back, we can start working on tax reform, health care reform.
Yes.
I know you're a fan of the fair tax,
as am I. I'm a big fan of the fair tax.
So I think the best way to get the message out, other than the communication, is hit them in the pockets, and the fair tax will help them a ton.
That's right. And the same people that you said we need to get back, appealing to conservatives who happen to be black as well as some others who just don't have the information.
Right.
You got to be able to explain the fair tax to them so they know how it is an advantage. There's disinformation out there against the fair tax. You and I both know that. And we have to just continue to fight that battle. And so that's what we're up against. Not only must we make sure that we sharpen our message about what we will do and what we are about, not just ideologically, but we must also refute the misinformation and the disinformation that is used so effectively by the left and the liberals.
I can't say it any better. I know you're a busy, man. You got lots of folks that want to talk to you.
Thanks, Paul.
The Hermanator, Herman Cain, HermanCain.com, weeknights, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Have a blessed day.
You too, man. Thank you.